Man freezes as a wolf starts stalking his dog. Though they're beautiful and often remind us of our dogs, it's important to remember that wolves are still dangerous animals that should be avoided. They might look just like a loyal old Fido, but rest assured, their temperaments are much more aggressive. In 2004, an Alaskan wildlife photographer named Nick Jans was with his dog Dakota when he stumbled upon a wolf outside his home. Nick's nerves kicked in full blast, terrified of how the wolf would react. What happened next, however, changed his life forever. In 2004, while sitting on his porch with his dog, Nick Jans witnessed a wolf emerge from the woods. Before he could react, his dog Dakota ran straight for the wild animal without hesitation. Though he was initially terrified, Nick then saw something he never expected. The two animals began to play. They were behaving like friends. He quickly grabbed his camera and snapped this photo. Nick eventually gave the wolf the name Romeo and watched it linger in the area. Even though the animal seemed nothing but friendly, Nick didn't want to turn his back on the action. Shortly after his playdate with Dakota, the wolf was soon frequently seen playing with dogs at Menindal Glacier Park. It was almost like Dakota showed Romeo the dog playing ropes, and now the wolf couldn't get enough of the action. At first, park visitors were wary of the wolf, as they should have been, as Romeo was much larger than even the biggest dogs. Soon, however, people relaxed and realized he only wanted to have fun. As Romeo wanted to be embraced by the other dogs who roamed the park, and he usually was. Some dogs might have been hesitant at first, but pretty soon they were all rolling around the snow with excitement. It wasn't just the dogs that Romeo befriended, he also loved the people. He would bring out toys that he'd stashed. Nick said in an interview, Romeo was willing to do whatever he could to gain the trust of those around him. Nick said of the items Romeo would find, one was a styrofoam float. Romeo would pick it up and bring it to my friend Harry to throw. The wolf was starting up his own game of fetch. Nick added that Romeo clearly understood the same sort of behaviors that we see in dogs. Even though he was a different species, he'd been around dogs long enough to imitate their actions. Nick explained, we were these three species working out how to get along harmoniously, and we did. Against all odds, the three amigos formed a special bond no one saw coming. Romeo never moved in with Nick and Dakota, of course. He was a wild animal, and his home was the forest. But for 6 years, he made frequent appearances around Nick's home and the Menindal Glacier Park. He even became a sort of a symbol of the local people, of their close relationship with the wilderness. He bridged the gap between the natural world and the human-made one. Romeo was quite the draw for people who would often go to the lake just to see him. It wasn't every day you could see a large wolf acting out his inner dog in a public place. Still, while the locals knew him to be friendly, visitors were always a little wary. Many of them found it difficult to fully trust that Romeo was harmless. He was a wolf after all. Romeo was downright relaxed and tolerant from the start, Nick said, as if he'd dropped out of the sky like a unicorn. Unfortunately, Romeo's cheerly persona eventually came to an end. Tragically, in 2009, Romeo was shot and killed by hunters. The loss was a hard blow to every resident in Juneau, and they held a memorial service for the beloved wolf with a plaque made in his honor. That plaque still stands in Juneau, and residents intend on keeping it up for as long as possible. Written on it are the words, Romeo, 2003 to 2009. The spirit of Juneau's friendly black wolf lives on in this wild place. Romeo was one of the friendliest and amazing animals Nick had ever had the pleasure to get to know. The wolf truly became part of Nick's family, along with Dakota, and he'll live on forever in the hearts of every Juneau resident. Not long after Romeo's passing, Nick actually documented his relationship with the incredible wolf and life-changing friend in a book titled A Wolf Called Romeo.